Today is October 2nd, 2020. The time is 9:34 a.m. and this is the duly called meeting of the Texas Low-Level Radioactive Waste Disposal Compact Commission. I am Brandon Hurley and I am the chair. This is a specially called meeting, so the agenda will be very short, but I will remind everyone that due to Governor Abbott's March 13th, 2020 proclamation of a state disaster affecting all counties in Texas due to the coronavirus and the governor's March 16th, 2020 suspension of certain provisions of the Open Meetings Act, this meeting is being held via Zoom video webinar. We appreciate everyone's cooperation in participating via Zoom. Obviously, the members of the public will have the right to access and means to participate in this meeting by two-way communication. All of you that are currently on the call have registered, and we appreciate you doing that. The agenda for today's meeting is available on our website under the tab Upcoming Meetings. Our website is www.TLLRWDCC.org. For public participants today, meaning everyone other than the commissioners and Stephen Rains, we would ask that you use the raise your hand function that is at the bottom of your screen. If you hover your mouse down there, it will have a Q&A option, and once you do that, you can raise your hand. We would ask that anyone that wants to speak today use that function to let us know that you'd like to speak. With that, I believe we have a quorum today. We have Vice Chairman Salzman, Commissioner Mundy, Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Bradford, and Judge Dolgener. We also have with us Dave Gordon, our Attorney General representative, and Andrew, without whom none of this would work. And we also have joining us today, we're very happy to have Stephen Rains, who we will talk about in a moment. With that, we will call the meeting to order, and I will ask, do we have any elected officials with us here today? I see our friends from TCEQ have joined us. I see that Commissioner Janek is with us. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for joining us. Is there any other representatives of elected officials or elected officials that have joined us here today? I do see some members of other compacts that have joined us. It's nice to see all of you. Thank you for joining. Seeing no hands, we will move on then. Do we have any members of the press with us here today on the Zoom call?
What time is it in California? Like 6? Poor Kathy.
I know. All right, seeing no members of the press, we will move on to item 4 on our agenda, which, although today is a special meeting, we do want to always provide the opportunity for the public to address us on any general matters. At this time, if any of the members of the audience would like to make any statements to the commission as a whole, again, please let us know by using the raise your hand function, and I will try to call on you. Seeing no hands raised, we can move on. We are now on to item 5 on the agenda, which is a consideration and action of the evaluation and renewal of Diane Fulmer, our accountant for our fiscal year 2021. I will introduce each of these just by obviously stating for both Diane and Deirdre, they're critical to our operation. They have served us very well in the past. I'm sure they will continue to do that. We are going into some critical times right now because the session's about to happen and we will have budget issues and appropriations issues, which both Diane and Deirdre will help us with greatly. In addition to that, in a little bit longer range planning, we will have our sunset period where we will rely very heavily, I'm sure, on both Diane and Deirdre to help us get through that. We previously sent out the contract for Diane, which has technically already been signed, but we will need an approval by an affirmative vote of the commission to approve the renewal of her contract. So let me ask if anyone has any questions about Diane's contract or anything about her role as our accountant.
Stay the same pay-wise and everything, Mr. Chairman.
So Diane bills us on a monthly basis based on the work we've done, but we set a budget for her. So
Yeah, 50,000.
yeah, and that is the number, and I believe that is a slight increase over previous years. Her
Okay.
justification was there will probably be an increase in some of the things we need from her based on the preparation for the sunset review. So
Yeah.
that was her explanation.
I thought we raised it last year, but that's fine. I'll just asking that question.
Chairman, also, and I believe her hourly rate went up
Yes,
also by $25 an hour.
that's correct. Which I believe that's the first time that's ever happened with her as well. So, any other questions about Diane's contract?
She does a good job.
She very, very much does, very much.
And her assistant does a really good job.
So with that, then we will. I will entertain a motion to approve the execution of the Compact Commission's contract with Diane Fulmer. Is there a motion?
So move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion to second. Any further discussion about the motion to approve the independent contractor agreement with Diane Fulmer to serve as our accountant for the commission? Any public comment on the motion? Seeing none, I think we can move on to a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the contract for Diane Fulmer for our upcoming fiscal year, or not upcoming, I guess, our current fiscal year that we are in, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. With that, we are concluded with item 5 of the agenda. We can move on to item 6. Item 6 is the consideration and possible action concerning the evaluation and renewal of our employment for governmental relations liaison, Deirdre DeLisi, for the current fiscal year 2021. I've already spoken as to the things that both Diane and Deirdre do for us, but obviously with the session coming up and our need to get a appropriation from the legislature and anything else that happens to occur during the session, Deirdre's services are very much appreciated and needed. She will also, I think, be very integral in the sunset review process, again, because that will take a lot of interaction between us and the Sunset Review Commission and a lot of legwork that I think we will be calling on Deirdre and her staff to do. And that process, although it's not in fiscal 2021, I think a lot of the work will be done in fiscal 2021. So once again, I think that she is a critical part of our operation and has done a very good job for us to date. So with that, I will open it up to any questions about the proposed contract with Deirdre DeLisi that we also circulated earlier this week.
David, did you look at this contract?
Yes, and it is the same terms as previous with a slightly reduced payment amount.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was seeing. But you're good with it any other way with the state and everything?
Yes.
I don't have any more questions.
Anybody else have any questions about Deirdre's contract? Okay, seeing none, we will then move on to a motion. Would anyone like to make a motion for the approval of Deirdre's contract, which by the way has not been signed yet. So Diane's has been, Deirdre's has not been. So this will be to approve the entry of the contract.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the proposed contract for intergovernmental relations support from Deirdre DeLisi? Any public comment on Deirdre's contract? Hearing none, we can move on to a vote then, I think. All in favor of the motion to approve the contract with Deirdre DeLisi for governmental relations, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 All opposed, no. Motion passes. I will remind everyone, and probably should have said this before we voted, and Dave can speak to this, the contracts are structured in such a way where even though they're on a year-to-year basis, we do have rights of termination on much shorter terms if that ever becomes an issue. That's kind of the safety valve in all these contracts, is we could in fact terminate them, I believe, Dave, on 30 days notice.
I believe 30 days is right.
So that's, I think, kind of the safety net that we work under with these. So with that, we have completed through item 6. We can now move on to item 7, which is the reason we've asked Stephen Rains to join us today. Item 7 is consideration and possible action concerning the evaluation of potential employment of Stephen Rains to serve as our executive director of the commission. Commissioners, we obviously have the right to go into executive session, and Stephen has the right to join us, and we can talk to him at that point. But I wanted to give Stephen and the public an opportunity to introduce themselves in this public session. Stephen comes to us highly recommended. He has a variety of experience in and around Austin and the Texas political scene. He has worked both for legislators. He has worked in the private sector in organizations like ours. So he is very well experienced. He has, I believe, some familiarity with our issues through his previous work in the legislature. And he is, again, comes to us as a recommendation from important people. So with that, I will ask Stephen if he would just take the opportunity to introduce himself, and then when everyone's ready, we can go into the executive session.
Thank you, Chairman Hurley. Thank you, Commissioners, for inviting me to be here today. As Chairman Hurley said, my name is Stephen Rains. I've worked in and around government for many years in Texas government. For many years, some of you, I think Judge Dolgener, actually, I've met you actually out in your area a long time ago. I used to work for the Speaker of the House, who's from West Texas, and worked on these issues, whether they be on solid waste issues and also on some of the power issues as well related to electricity power. And I'm real familiar with a lot of the work that was done back in 2003 when the permit was granted for the single permit and license for WCS, and I'm very familiar with it, and love the opportunity to visit with you about what skills that I have to bring to the table as far as my knowledge of government and the sunset process, as you mentioned, the process of the permit applications as you guys work on them. And hopefully I can bring something to the table that will be valuable to you as you're running this commission and need someone to staff it on a daily basis. And if you've got any questions for me, I'd love to answer them, or if the public has questions, they can answer them as well.
Hey, Steve, good morning. I do remember you now that I've seen your face. Your bio didn't have your picture, so I don't know, 2004 is a long time ago, but I do remember you anyway.
Good to see you.
Good speaker too, Speaker Craddock. Yeah, only thing I need to do, Brandon, is figure out how to go to our next deal. So you just pause this, or how do you do that, and then go back to the other one? Can't hear you.
You're muted, Chairman.
Sorry. I believe Andrew can mute us all, and therefore he will effectively mute us on this platform. We will then jump on a different platform for our executive session that you should have received in an email, which Andrew can send out again if everybody doesn't have it. And then the executive session will not be open to the public. Before we do that, I wanted to see if anyone first on the commission had any questions for Stephen that they wanted to ask here in the public forum. And if the commissioners don't have any questions, I was going to open it up for public comment, or if they had any questions for Stephen, I was going to give them the opportunity to ask questions related to his background or qualifications before we then go into executive session. So does anyone have any questions for Stephen that they want to ask in the public session? Seeing none, I guess we can ask the public by way of the raise your hand function if anyone has any questions for Stephen before we go into executive session. All right, I don't see any. So I think what we now need to do is go into our executive session. As I said, everyone should have an email with a link to go to, I believe it's a GoToMeeting link that you should see. Is that correct, Andrew?
Yes, I just sent it to everybody a second ago, so you should see it in your inbox. Brandon, you'll need to pass over hostship back to me.
Okay.
And before doing that, Chairman Hurley, I sent you an email that's got a script to go into the closed session.
let me read the script for closed session, then I will turn it back over to Andrew for to close down or to temporarily pause this meeting.
Great, and it will only be going for item number 7.
Right. The time is now 9:49 a.m. and the commission will go into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074 to discuss personnel matters relating to agenda item 7. The commissioners will temporarily leave this Zoom meeting for the closed session, but will reconvene in this meeting once the closed session ends. And for those of you in the public, I would say that 45 minutes to an hour will probably be the longest. But if for some reason, if you just want to leave your Zoom session open, it could be, I guess, as short as 30 minutes as well. But I would say we're going to probably be in executive session for a minimum of 30 minutes, maybe as long as an hour. So with that, Andrew, tell me how I turn control back over to you.
Over in the panelists section, I think you can right click on administration, which is me. And there should be a more drop down that you can make me the host.
All right. So commissioners, if you have any questions about getting to the executive session, please check your emails. We will literally have Andrew sign us off of this one, and then we will all join on the other web platform here in the next 2 or 3 minutes. The time is now 11:57 a.m. and we are back in open session. I am sorry that took a little bit longer than I expected, but no votes were taken in the closed session. We will pick up the open session with agenda item 7, and I'll open the floor to my colleagues for any more discussion or motions. If anyone would like to make a motion on agenda item 7, which is the consideration and possible action concerning the potential employment of Stephen Raines to serve as our executive director.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve you to enter into a contract for employment with Stephen Raines for fiscal year 21, negotiate whatever terms are necessary in that contract, including provision of related to any conflict with other clients, and an amount not to exceed the amount listed in our FY21 budget.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion about item 7 on our agenda? Hearing none, we will open it up to the public. Is there any public comment on the motion pending before the commission? Again, if you'd like to comment, please indicate so by doing the raise hand function. Seeing none, I think we can move on to a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve Stephen Raines as our new executive director on the term stated in the motion, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 All opposed, please indicate by saying no. Motion passes. Stephen, we are very excited about the opportunity to work with you, and I will get with Dave Gordon and get a form of contract ready, and we will communicate with you about it in the next day or so. I believe that we would like you to start as soon as possible, but I'm sure it will take a couple of days to get all the details worked out. So I actually can't talk about it this afternoon, but I will call you first thing on Monday and we will have that discussion. With that, we are through with our agenda at this special meeting. I will remind everyone, we have another meeting in the last week of October. I didn't put that on the agenda, but this will not take the place of that meeting. So we will still have our meeting in October, whatever that last Thursday is in October. So with that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you all very much for your time today.